Hello, this is Gauri. Today we are going to discuss cost and its concepts, short run, long run cost, economies and diseconomies, and some supply function related topics. Before moving forward, let me ask you a question. Which is more worthwhile, economic efficiency or technical efficiency? For this, first of all, we should understand the meaning of technical efficiency. By technical efficiency, we mean that what is the maximum possible amount of output a firm can obtain out of a given set of inputs. Meaning, if the resources are not technically efficient, then there will definitely be wastage of resources. Though technical efficiency is highly important, still economists are generally not much concerned with it. They are more concerned about the price of the resources. Economic efficiency means thereby as the use of production process or combination of resource which ensures minimum cost incurred in production of given level of output. Thus, engineers are more concerned in getting maximum physical output from given inputs, while economists are concerned with maximizing the output value from given level of cost. The concept of opportunity cost occupies a very important place in modern economic analysis. But what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost of any good is the next best alternative good that is sacrificed. Accounting cost versus economic cost. Okay, let us begin with the concept of cost in general. When an entrepreneur undertakes any business or any act of production, he has to pay prices for the factors he employs for production. He thus pays wages to workers employed, prices for the raw materials, fuel and power used, rent for the building he hires, interest on the money borrowed for doing business. All these included as cost of production and are termed as accounting cost. Then what is economic cost? Sometimes entrepreneurs also invest certain amount of capital or some assets like land, capital, building, vehicles from his own pocket into his business, which he could have invested elsewhere and could earn some amount of interest or dividend. Moreover, he also devotes time, his managerial or entrepreneurial skills. All these investments together with accounting cost contribute economic cost. Thus, economic cost is sum of accounting cost and implicit cost, that is actual cost which can easily be accounted in terms of money, time and resources, and also the sacrifice of gaining something, that is cost of opportunity cost. Therefore, economic cost is equals to accounting cost plus opportunity cost. For example, for a student, cost of studying in a college is its fees, expenses for books, notebooks, etc. But a student is sacrificing for his salary, which he would have earned if instead of studying he was doing a job. Here, cost of paying college fees, expenses of buying books, etc. together with the sacrifice of not doing any job is economic cost for that student. Cost function. Let us take a brief idea about cost function. The concept of cost function refers to the mathematical relationship between cost of various products and various determinants of cost. Symbolically, we may state the function as C is function of O, S, T, U and P, where C refers to cost, O refers to level of output, S means size of the plant, T refers to nature of technology, P denotes the price of inputs used in production. Short run and long run cost. Moving ahead, now we should know the concept of both short run and long run cost. Short run costs are those costs which are incurred by a firm during a period in which some factors, especially capital equipment, land, management staff, etc. are held constant. Short run costs are incurred on the purchase of labor, raw materials, chemicals, fuel, etc., which varies with the changes in the level of output. On the other hand, long run costs are incurred during a period which is sufficiently long to allow the variations in all factors of production, including capital equipment, land, managerial staff to produce output, average cost and marginal cost. Moving further, let's discuss the relationship between average cost and marginal cost in 3 basic points. If marginal cost is less than average variable cost declines. If marginal cost is equals to average variable cost, then AVC is at its minimum. If marginal cost is greater than AVC, the AVC is rising. Exactly the same relationship holds between MC and ATC. Short run and long run curves. Now let us understand the concept of short run and long run curves in detail. In this diagram, total fixed curve is parallel to x-axis. TFC starts from the point on y-axis, meaning thereby that fixed cost will be incurred even if the output is 0. On the other hand, variable cost curve rises upwards, showing thereby that an output increases, total variable cost also increases. This curve starts with the origin, meaning that if the output is 0, variable cost is also nil. The total cost curve is obtained by adding total fixed cost and total variable cost vertically. Thus, we can see that the distance between TVC and TC curve is constant throughout, because the vertical distance between TVC and TC curve represents the amount of TFC. Hence, the shape of total cost curve is exactly same as total variable cost, because the same vertical distance always separates both the curves. In short run, average fixed cost curve slopes downwards throughout its length, but it does not touch x-axis. As output increases, average fixed cost curve extends more and more towards right and will keep on declining, and further increase in production leads it to approach 0, but it will not touch any of the x's. On the other hand, average variable cost falls first and then thereafter increases. Average variable cost will generally fall due to increasing returns. But beyond a normal capacity, output AVC will rise steeply due to occurrence of diminishing returns. Thus, AVC curve will first fall, then reaches its minimum and then rise again. Average total cost is sum of AVC and AFC. The behavior of average total cost curve depends upon the behavior of AVC and AFC.
Action.
While long run is period of time in which the firm can vary all of its inputs, unlike short run in which some inputs are fixed and others are varying. On the other hand, we can say that in short run, firm is tied with only one firm, whereas in long run, firm moves from one plant to another. It can acquire a big plant if it wants to expand its business, or a small plant if it wants to reduce it. Thus, long run cost of production is the least possible cost of production of producing any given level of output when all inputs are variable. To better understand the concept of long run cost curve, let us take 3 short run cost curves, that is SAC 1, 2 and 3. Or we can say these are plant curves. The firm will try to operate at that level of output where the total cost is minimum. It is seen in the diagram that up to OB amount of output, the firm will operate on the SAC1, though it could also produce with SAC2, because up to OB amount of output, production on SAC1 will result on lower cost than on SAC2. To minimize the cost, firm will try to operate at optimum cost, which is SAC2, that is the point where SAC2 is tangent to LAC curve. Similarly, the firm will use SAC3 for output larger than SAC2. It is thus clear that in the long run, the firm has a choice in employment of plant and will employ that plant, which yields minimum possible unit cost for producing a given output. But why a long run cost curve is called an envelope curve? Suppose now firm has a choice so that a plant can vary by infinite number of plants, corresponding to which there are numerous average cost curves. So, if a firm desires to produce a particular output in long run, it will pick a point on LAC corresponding to that output and will build a plant relevant to it and operate on a particular short run average cost curve. In such a case, the long run cost curve will be a smooth curve enveloping all those short run average cost curves. As it envelopes all short run cost curves, it is called envelope curve. Shape of LAC curve. Let us discuss shape of long run average cost curves with respect to both traditional and modern theories of cost. Now let us see traditional cost theory. Shape of LAC curve is U-shaped curve. This is so because of returns to scale. As the firm expands its production, returns to scale increase. After a range of constant returns to scale, the returns to scale finally decrease. On the same line, LAC curve first declines, then finally rises. Increasing returns to scale cause fall in average cost curve and decreasing returns to scale cause rise in long run average cost curve. Thus, the shape of curve is U-shaped. That is, initially it is falling due to increasing returns to scale, then it starts increasing due to further expansion in production due to decreasing returns to scale. Now moving forward with modern cost theory. Recent empirical studies have indicated that diseconomies are not a necessary consequence of large scale operations. The main reason for this is reserve capacity to cater to changing demand conditions. Consequence of reserve capacity is L shape of long run average cost curve and saucer shape of short run average variable cost curves. L shape of long run average cost curve. Let us discuss how. All costs are variable in long run. In long run, cost can be divided into production cost and managerial cost. The basic reason for the L shape is that the production cost falls continuously with the increase in output, while managerial cost rises at a very large scale of output and the fall in production cost more than offsets the increase in managerial cost, so that the total long run average cost curve continuously fall with increase in scale. Thus, long run average cost curve is L-shaped rather than U-shaped because of the dual effect of both production and managerial cost. Or we can say that at a very large scale of production, the managerial cost per unit of output may rise, but the technical or production economies more than offsets the managerial diseconomies, so that the total LAC does not rise or fall continuously. Thus, the empirical evidence indicates that LAC curve rapidly falls and will remain flat beyond a certain point, or it may even slope gently downwards. Another important concept which we should know is economies and diseconomies of scale. So, let us discuss. The reduction in the unit cost of production as the firm increases its capacity is called economies of scale, while the increase in unit cost of production as the firm increases its capacity is called diseconomies of scale. To better understand this, let us discuss its reasons. U-shaped short run average cost curve is explained with the law of variable proportions, while long run average cost curve with returns to scale. This is because of the reason that firm enjoys increasing economies of scale in the beginning, and with further production it suffers internal diseconomies of scale. Two main factors for economies of scale are technically more efficient forms of factors and division of labor. Diseconomies of scale. As per Chamberlain and his followers, when the firm has reached a size large enough to allow the utilization of almost all the possibilities of division of labor and the employment of more efficient machinery, further increase in the size of the plant will lead to high long run unit cost because of difficulties of management. As with expansion in scale of operation, it will become difficult for the top management to coordinate with their staff, and this will lead to reduce the overall efficiency of management. Thus, LAC curve will rise upwards, and this movement is caused due to diseconomies of scale, arising due to lack of proper management and coordination beyond a certain large scale of production. But what is internal economies and external economies of scale? See, internal economies of scale accrue due to uses of greater degrees of division of labor and specialized machinery at higher levels of output. These are called internal because they accrue to the firm when its own output or scale increases internally, while external economies and diseconomies accrues to the firm due to expansion in output of whole industry and are thus independent of the output of individual firm. They are external in the sense that they accrue to the firm not because of the internal situation, but from outside, that is output of the industry. For example, with the expansion of industry, certain specialized firms also come up for working for the byproducts, waste materials, for supplying raw materials, etc. Equilibrium of a firm. Equilibrium of a firm is the optimum point. Below it or above it, firm will either incur losses or will earn profit. This can be explained with total revenue and total cost approach. A firm is in equilibrium when it is maximizing its profits and it will keep on increasing its outputs if its profit are hereby increasing. And finally, it will fix its level of output at maximum profit. Here profit is difference between total revenue and total cost. Let us understand this with the help of a diagram. In this figure, we can see that TR curve starts from the origin, that is, when no output is produced, revenue is 0, while total revenue goes on increasing with increase in output. TC curve begins from the point F, which is on the y-axis, meaning thereby that if the firm is not producing anything, it incurs some cost, that is fixed cost. We can see that initially when firm starts its production, TC curve is above TR curve. As production increases, TC reaches TR curve and the firm is at break even. Now with further production, TR curve overrides TC curve. Thus, we can see that the difference between TR and TC is maximum here, which means the profit is maximum. After this, if firm permits further production, TR will start declining and will reach TC. That is, it will be again at break even. Beyond this, if there will be further production, the firm has to incur loss. Now a question arises, how to determine total profit of a firm? For this, we will draw a total profit curve, which indicates the difference between TC and TR. The level of curve at which profit curve is at its highest point is profit maximizing point. As we can see, initially TP curve is below x-axis, that is negative profit or loss. Then it increases and reaches the maximum point, then it again declines to negative. Now to measure exact point of profit maximizing, we have to draw tangents at different points of TR and TC curves. And the point where these tangents coincide will be the desired point of profit. This method of measuring profit maximizing level of output by curves of total revenue and total cost is quite acceptable and is generally employed by businessmen. Now let us discuss what is supply function. Looking to the marginal cost curve, we can see that initially marginal cost is declining due to diminishing returns to scale and reaches its minimum. Thereafter increases due to increasing returns to scale. The segment of marginal cost curve above average cost curve, or we can say after reaching its minimum, is called supply curve of the firm. Market period is divided into different stages, that is very short run and long run. In very short run period, supply is inelastic, that is, it is invariable even if all the variable factors are changed. But in short period, supply can be increased only with change in variable factors, whereas in long run, supply can be increased by changing all the factors, both variable and fixed. If a firm maximizes its profit, it does not mean that this profit is non-negative. If it is incurring negative profit, then the firm would be better off not to enter the industry. Thus, for taking such decisions, concept of supply function is introduced. Now, is there any effect due to price also? See, price of a commodity that will prevail in the market depends upon the time period under consideration. All of a sudden, demand rises in a market, the market price will also increase sharply. Since supply cannot increase within the market period, as firm can only sell the output already produced in the market. In short run, only some limited adjustments in supply can take place. As a result of the firm moving along with their short run marginal cost curves by expanding output with the increase in amount of variable factors, while in long run the firms would expand its output by building new plants by increasing the size of the capital equipment. As in the long run, new firms will enter into the industry and will add to the supply of output. Hence, the price in long run will be lower than the short run. Let us see how does taxes and subsidies affect the shape of supply curve. We know that taxes and subsidies can change the price of goods and services. A marginal tax on the seller of a good will shift the supply curve towards left until the vertical distance between the two supply curves is equals to the per unit tax. Other things remaining equal, this will increase the price paid by the consumers and decrease the price received by the sellers. On the other hand, marginal subsidies on production will shift the supply curve to the right until the vertical distance between the two supply curves is equals to the per unit subsidy. Other things remaining equal, this will decrease price paid by the consumers and increase the price received by the producers. So, today we have discussed basic concept of cost together with short run and long run cost curves, economies and diseconomies, certain concepts regarding supply function. That's it. Thank you.